Hello everyone. Today I'll be back at it again. Haven't done this in a while, but a tier list video. I'll be doing it on basically the FIFA World Cup 2022 teams as of November 5th, 2022. So basically so 2 weeks before the start date, November 20th. So 15 days before the official start date of the World Cup. As a disclaimer, this is just my opinion. I'm not the biggest soccer fan in the world, so obviously, yeah, just my opinion. And yeah, World Cup 2022, 32 teams, and yeah, let's just get started. Argentina. Um, I guess I'll also be making the tier list off of yeah, the best teams, but I guess the group stage does matter a bit. Like if I see like a super hard group, let's say I don't know, a super stacked group, and like if it's like a super easy group, I anticipate like a strong team getting out really easily, and then afterwards they'll have a lower chance of injuries since their players can sit and whatever. So that's a small consideration. So, but overall, like yeah, I'll start with Argentina. I'll put them on the 8S tier, and mainly because of their momentum. They just won the Copa America last year, or this year, or the most recent one. Yeah, they have all their players are still pretty much healthy. As of today, Messi is going to sit out the game, like suffers an injury, Achilles injury, but I don't really think like I think this is this is fake news, but Messi just got rests, is just resting. Like even though he won't be as 100%, like I feel like the rest of the squad will step up. It won't just be a one-man team, and they just have a great momentum headed into the World Cup. They're in a relatively, I guess, easier group based off of world rankings. Group C. Like FIFA rankings, I guess Mexico is a Poland are pretty big, but overall, I see them having really good momentum. Um, and yeah, I just see that Messi, even though he still has good enough time to rest for the rest of the tournament. Belgium, I actually put them in S tier as well. They have a really good roster. Most players are still healthy. Um, they were third place last World Cup, and they're in a pretty hard group, I'd say, because of Canada. But given the recent Alfonso Davies news, they might have a easier, they might have a higher chance of securing group Group F. But overall, like their whole roster is still pretty good. Um, their national team has been pretty good. They lost to Netherlands recently, but yeah, I'd say like overall they have pretty good momentum. Like Kevin De Bruyne, like playing at his best as he always is, and just have way too many dominating players. So with them at S tier. Brazil, I'm actually gonna put into the B tier, and that's because I just don't think they're that good. Um, like I just think they're kind of overrated. Um, yeah, they might have a easier group, I guess. Like we can check out the Group G rankings. Like no one else is in the top 10, Switzerland top 15, but even you can say that's a little questionable. But yeah, not really super high ranking. But no matter what happens, like Group G will end up facing winner of Group G will face winners of Group H, and I'm pretty sure they'll not be knocked out by either. Any of one of these teams are good enough to knock out Brazil. So yeah, I'll I that's why I'm putting them in the B tier. I don't think they're that good. We can check out the roster again, but see Neymar, his decent, but I don't think he'll show up this World Cup. Like Vini Jr., his pretty much the best player I think at this point, in my opinion. The rest of the players pretty decent, pretty solid, but overall, like I don't like Thiago Silva, like 50 years old. Um, Anthony has been memed on a lot, but yeah, another United player. Um, yeah, hasn't been doing too hot in Arsenal ever since he left City, so I put them in B tier. Like I think they'll make it out of the group first place, but like they're gonna get destroyed by whoever is in Group H. So that's why I give them very low chances. And yeah, I'm gonna put them into D. Put them into C tier. Um, I don't know. I just don't see them going off too much. Like they haven't been doing too much things recently. Not too many star players, and I think to win the World Cup, you at least need one like decent superstar, not superstar, but like one high class caliber star, and they don't have that one person that can take them over the edge. Um, and of course, I made a mistake. I apologize to everyone in Ghana because there's not Ghana, it's Cameroon, which I also put in the D tier. So, yeah, I put Ghana and Cameroon in the D tier. Um, yeah, I just don't really see them making too many moves. I don't see them upsetting too many people. Like, yeah, if Ghana finishes into the knockout round, like, yeah, they could beat Brazil at best, but yeah, I don't really think they'll do much. On the other hand, a team that will make a big impact is, of course, Canada. I put them in the S tier. Um, I would have put them in S tier before that Davies injury news. Like, I put them in the A plus tier, like somewhere between A and S. But to be safe, I'll put in the A tier. Like, yeah, because Alfonso Davies, pretty much one of the best players of all time, best player of Canada of all time. Um, Wherever he goes, magic will happen. We saw Canada qualify. Like they're heavily underrated in the world rankings. Like if you see their momentum, it's been going upwards all the way. I think they have a good chance of finishing like first in Group F, but it'll be hard because of how Davies does. Like Canada's group, like they're ranked 41st in the world, lowest ranked in the whole group, but it's like based off of I guess how they're doing, their momentum, and that they have a lot to play for, given that it's their first World Cup in like over 30 years. They're gonna show up for sure in a big way. So put them in the A tier, pretty solid. And Costa Rica, put them in a C tier. It would be kind of disrespectful to put them beside Brazil, of course, but Canada, like pretty much is much better than them throughout the whole qualifying stage for, um, like basically the North American qualifiers for the World Cup. So can't put them in an A tier. Putting the B tier would be disrespectful to Brazil. So putting them in a C tier. The last previous World Cup runner-ups, I'll put them in the B tier. Basically, I don't think they're that good. Like most of their players are getting old. Like um, Luka Modric, 37, and if you even type up Luka, oh never mind. Well, it's not even the most famous Luka in Europe, so yeah. But most players are like pretty much you could say past their primes, but could still perform effectively. Croatia, same group as Canada, but given that Belgium and Canada are already in Group F, I just don't see them producing good results. And if they do, they're just a mid-tier team. Denmark, they're in Group D. Like as much as I respect Denmark and they're a pretty solid team, had to put them in C. They can be solid, but I just don't think they'll. My take here is that they might they'll finish fourth, but I can make a separate video for my predictions of the placing and the bracket, like closer to the start. This is just my general tier list, so it's just a general ballpark. Like for Canada, if Davies was here, I'd put them at S, but it's A, so not a huge deal. But closer to the World Cup, I can clearly position like each group more, I guess, with more confidence. I think the next one is Ecuador. Um, D tier, like any one of those teams, um, I think can beat Ecuador. So that's all to say. England, I'll put in the A tier. They finished fourth last World Cup. It's like they have pretty good momentum going into the World Cup. I think they have a very interesting group. Um, England, they're basically Wales right beside them. USA, another major English-speaking nation, and Iran, who went to war with the U.S. and stuff like that. Yeah, pretty much everyone's ranked in the top 20. Will be a very intense group. But yeah, I just see England. They have pretty good momentum. They've they won, I guess, the qualification stage. They have a lot of young players. It just depends on how the roster, I guess, how their manager decides to manage the roster. They have a lot of good veteran players, very solid young players who are even younger than me. So, but in the A tier, it just depends on how their roster goes. It could easily be S tier, but it just depends on chemistry because they do have a lot of great players. France, remember, is no Pogba and no no Pogba, no Kante, Conte. Um, so it'll be very hard. They're two midfield stars from their last World Cup run. Both of them played huge roles. I think Pogba scored in the finals, but they both played huge roles. They still have Mbappe, who is unhappy at being PSG. So maybe Mbappe will purposely force himself. It's like if people are getting mad at me for wanting to leave, maybe if I perform badly at the World Cup, people won't like me, so they'll make my French exit more easy. So I put them in a B tier. I don't know how hard or like how much they want it compared to before. Like they just won. I think most of the roster is coming back. Let's see, France national team. I don't know if they have too much young talent compared to other teams. Like Griezmann's like 52 years old. Oh, 31, still pretty young, but Benzema had, had he's had a terrific last few years ever since that last World Cup. I think he got snubbed from the last but yeah, it's still like they do have still a lot of good players. Mr. Hospital himself um is I don't know if Giroud plays 36, but like I just don't see this team performing as well as last World Cup, and they are in a pretty tough group, Group D with Tunisia. But yeah, I just see them as B tier. They just don't have. It just depends how their midfield goes. We don't know yet. We haven't seen them play any friendlies or anything without their, or like any serious games without their, I guess, two-star midfield players. Even though controversially, I guess I don't think Pogba would be starting, but he might be just for the experience. Germany, I'll put in the I'll put in the A tier. They're not as scary as they used to be in the last whatever number of World Cups. Of course, I think they made semis for like four straight World Cups until they got destroyed last one or something, or the 2018 one. But yeah, they're in a pretty tough group as well. Spain, Costa Rica, and Japan. So it'll be kind of hard. Um, Obviously, still a lot of star players on Germany. Um, yeah, wait. Yeah, I don't see like I don't really see these players like not as scary as the past, but I'll still put them in A tier because it's respectable. They have solid management, roster management. Nothing really too bad about them. Just solid stuff all around. Iran I'll put in the C tier just because of the group they're in. They're in a pretty tough group, but Iran could easily make a few upsets, advance, and in the bracket we see. I think it's Group B. Is it? Yeah, Group B. Runners up of Group B, which could be really possible by Iran versus winners of Group A, which could be any one of these teams, which could be Netherlands, but I could see if Iran upsets Netherlands, they're in the top eight. So that's why, just for that if factor, I'll put them in the C tier. Japan, C tier as well. It's like I could definitely see them taking points off of Germany, Spain, winning against Costa Rica. There's just a lot of factors into play, and I'm just a big fan of Japan's style of play. They have been in the last bunch of World Cups, So they have pretty good experience. Um, the world ranking as of last month is 24th, so not that bad. So I could see them making some moves, but yeah, what I might I'll put them to D tier. Like, I'm not sure. Mexico, they're in the same team as this Group C. It's actually been pretty long so far, or 15 minutes just for not even halfway there. So I'll quicken it up. Mexico, put in the A tier. Like, yeah, I definitely believe in them. I think there's Morocco. Mm, D tier. Group is too stacked. Netherlands, A tier, very solid as well. Um, ah, apologies to what flag is that? Is that Tunisia? I don't know what flag that is, but Poland, put in the C tier. I don't see him go. I don't know. I just don't feel like as good as Lewandowski did last year, and is doing pretty good this year. The rest of the squad, I'm not too sure about. Portugal, I would love to see a lot of Seus at the World Cup, but I can't put them S tier. It's just you can see Ronaldo. As much as he wants to prove himself to be as like, I'm pretty sure if he wins Player of the Tournament, like Eric will have to start him for sure. But I don't think he could prove himself too much at this point of his career. Um, like they're in a pretty tough group as well. They're with Uruguay, and Uruguay's got their number from last World Cup. So yeah, but I just see them being very solid as well. I see Uruguay and Portugal being very good teams to fight against. Qatar, as they're hosting the World Cup, they might have not been in the World Cup if they were not hosts. Um, got a big list of stuff here, but no, it could be dangerous out here these days, so I'll have to put them in C tier. Saudi Arabia, same reason as Qatar. Scotland, I'm putting them in D tier. I don't want to disrespect Scotland. Um, pretty solid stuff overall, but like, yeah, I don't. Wait, is this a non-updated one? I don't. I'm not. I don't think Scotland made it actually. Yeah, this is not an updated one. Oh well. I think it is Senegal. Yeah, Senegal. I think Sadio Mane is very good, and I think it's a very solid team. Very underrated. Slovenia. They actually made it, or is Slovakia or something? Oh, Serbia. Serbia, C tier. South Korea, C tier. Spain, I put in the S tier. They're a very, very good team. Don't know if they'll win at all, but they're a very, very, very good team. I think Spain football is at a very high level right now, so I'll put it there. Turkey, C tier. Switzerland, C tier. What is Wales? I don't. I think I don't remember seeing Wales here, but let's say this Wales C tier as well. US of A. I'll put in the B tier. And that's mostly because they have a lot of good young talent compared to previous years, but they could, like, their group is not too weak, or not that weak. Like, they have Wales, England, Iran, very solid teams, but overall, B tier. So that is my tier list for the World Cup. Thanks for watching. See you next time.